Now, from Wish TV, this is The Zone Extra, presented by Franciscan Health Sports Medicine. Coming up tonight, the winter sports postseason calendar rolls on across the state. In the Coach's Corner, we're breaking down Brownburg's dramatic wrestling state championship. Plus, our Athlete of the Week has his Braves team flying high entering the postseason.
I just feel like as long as we stay together and we keep feeding off of each other, listening to each other, then nobody can beat us.
It's time to tip off an all-new Zone Extra right now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the Zone Extra. I'm Angela Morian. What a great week of high school sports with postseason action on the court, on the mat, and even in the pool. In the Coach's Corner, Brownsburg is a state champion in wrestling. Dogs coach Derek Snyder, along with wrestlers Revan Dickman and Jake Hockaday, are here in studio. Plus, our Athlete of the Week is looking to lead for Buff basketball on a deep state tournament run. Meet Braves senior and future Butler Bulldogs Evan Haywood. Plus, we go on campus at Purdue with former Newcastle basketball standout Mason Gillis. Now let's take a look at this week in high school sports. We start with girls basketball, semi-state. Top-ranked Lawrence Central battled number 2 Center Grove. First quarter, Trojans trail by 2. When Audrey Aune scores, draws the foul, and ties the game. Second quarter, Bears down 1. Jayla Lampley gets the pass, buries the 3. That gives Lawrence Central a 2-point lead. Later, Bears turn defense into offense. Layla Abduraki ultimately steals it, does the rest. Coast to coast she goes for the layup. The Bears are going to the 4A state championship game for the first time in program history. They beat Center Grove 53-40.
It's bigger than basketball. What our girls essentially have done is they've laid out a playbook for success in life, setting goals, working towards them, knowing that there's going to be some adversity, there's going to be some tough times, and then ultimately you get to see them come to fruition. And to be here and play out, a lot of them, this has been a childhood dream since they were very, very young.
More dreams coming true in the other 4A semi-state. Noblesville taking on Lake Central. End of the first quarter, Reagan Wilson takes the deep 3 and it's good. Noblesville down just by 1. Early third quarter, Wilson uses the screen, nails the 3. Noblesville within 5. But Lake Central, too much for the Millers. Riley Milosnik connects from deep to make it a double-digit lead. Lake Central moves on to state with a 52-36 victory. Class 3A semi-state. From Jasper, it's Danville facing Gibson Southern. Early second quarter, Maddie Wethington drills the 3, top of the key. Danville down 2. Later in the quarter, Emma Anselet, great pass to Wethington. She hits another 3. Warriors were down 3 at half. Fast forward to the fourth quarter. Paige Schnaus lays it up, plus the whistle. That made it a double-digit lead. Gibson Southern on to state for the second time ever. They win 63-48. Let's talk Class 2A. It was Brownstown Central facing Eastern Hancock. Late first quarter, Jenna Klosterman finds Addie Darledge. Oh yeah, that's money. Ties the game up at 14. Early second quarter, Sammy Bolden answers back with a 3 of her own. Eastern Hancock trailed by 4 at halftime. Fourth quarter, Brownstown Central pulling away here. Mallory Klosterman, the sister, hitting another 3. Man, that runs in the family. Braves don't look back. They win it 45-29.
I think it's a dream come true. This is something, I remember as a young boy growing up in Indiana, basketball, playing in the state finals, getting to watch guys like Damon Bailey play when I was growing up, just how special it is. It brings our community together. So many people reaching out, telling us thank you, giving us positive messages, wanting to see what they can do to help us. Just a dream come true.
Boys basketball is in their final week of the regular season. The sectional draw took place last weekend. The state tournament begins next week on Tuesday. Meanwhile, last Friday, it was a fun one on the court. Ben Davis and its matchup with past 2 4A state championships as the Giants hosted Cathedral. Irish get a 9-point win. Lawrence North wins a share of the MIC title as the Wildcats earn a 16-point victory over Pike. Meanwhile, Westfield keeps up its strong play. The Rocks roll into a 14-point conference win over Franklin Central. They improve to 18-2 on the season. Moving on to the mat. Last weekend, the boys wrestling season came to a close with 2 days of state finals action from the Ford Center in Evansville. Plenty of local wrestlers brought home individual titles. At 106, congratulations to Roncalli sophomore Peyton Shutley. Center Grove senior Charlie LaRocca is the state champion at 120 pounds. At 126, senior Luke Ryu of Avon wins an individual title. How about 138? Congrats to Warren Central's senior Kyrell Lavelle, who wins a second straight individual championship. After a runner-up finish last year, Center Grove's Wyatt Cresa wins a state title at 150. Warren Central sophomore Waylon Crisell is your 165-pound state champion, while Center Grove's Nate Johnson wins the 285-pound state championship. Brownsburg won the team title. We have much more with the Dogs in Coach's Corner right here in studio. Meanwhile, in the pool, last week was the sectional round of the boys swimming tournament. Fishers, Carmer, Crawfordsville, Plainfield, Brownsburg, North Central, New Palestine, Franklin, and Bloomington South all brought home sectional team titles. The tournament concludes this weekend with action Friday and Saturday right here in downtown Indianapolis at the IU Natatorium. It's time for a break, but we have much, much more ahead here on Zone Extra. Up next, it's the Coach's Corner. There they are. We have Brownsburg's wrestling state champs in the house. Coach Derek Schneider and wrestlers Revan Dickman and Jake Hockaday. We'll talk to him next. Plus, he's leading the Braves basketball team that has its eyes on a state championship. We'll introduce you to our Athlete of the Week from the Buff. Stay with us.
This is the Zone Extra, presented by Franciscan Health Sports Medicine. This is the Zone Extra Coach's Corner.
Welcome back into Zone Extra. I'm now joined by our special guests, the stars of Brownsburg Wrestling. Coach Derek, thank you for joining us. We got Revan Dickman and Jake Hockaday, also state champions. Coach, what a year your Bulldogs have had. You go down to Evansville. 2 years ago, you were second. Last year, you were third. This year, you finally win the state title. First one in 7 years. What was different about this year that made it happen?
First of all, you brought up a lot of bad memories.
I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry.
We always set the goal of winning state championships and have been really close the last handful of years and not able to do it. I think what separates this group from the other groups that I've had is how close they are. We have a really great culture. They care about each other. They care about helping each other get better. And they just never gave up. They never were willing to accept being the second, third, or fourth best team in the state. So, and just continuing to improve throughout the year. None of our guys were the same guys at the end of the year that they were 4 months previously, because they worked together to accomplish that goal of winning a state title.
You talk about not giving up. You had to have that mentality in this meet. Crown Point and Center Grove right at your heels. This Brownsburg state title coming only by 3 points.
Yeah.
How did you keep your squad mentally focused when you see the juggernauts of Crown Point and Center Grove right there?
A lot of lying. I was an
Lying?
a lot of emotional roller coaster. Like, you know, for us, our coaching staff is like, we just tell them to focus on themselves, and if they perform well and score enough points, it'll add up, and not to worry about anything else. The entire time I was worrying about like everything else that was going on and how many points each team was getting. But for them, we just wanted them to focus on accomplishing their individual goal, performing well, and if at the end that added up enough points, great. But myself especially, I was adding up points the whole way throughout the tournament. But I don't want them doing that.
Revan, Jake, what was y'all's mentality? Were you adding up points like Coach? What was your headspace?
Definitely not. I think we were both just wrestling to get our personal goals done, and in the end that helped us get the team goal done.
You both had your personal goals and getting the individual state titles too. Revan, your second straight.
Yep.
How was this one potentially more special than last year?
It means a lot. This year we got the team
team goal done, and I got my goal done this year, so it feels great.
What was the key to getting your win?
The key to getting my win was just being there with all my teammates, having a good mindset, and then going out there and wrestling my match.
I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you beat Avon's Nate Ryu, second straight year. What's that relationship like? You friends? Are you rivals?
Funny enough, we're friends, been drill partners ever since I've been wrestling, so it kind of sucks wrestling your friend in the finals 2 years in a row, but it happens.
Is there any smack talk going over text, Snapchat?
No smack talk.
No smack talk. Okay, maybe that's next year when you beat him a third time, potentially. Jake, your third straight title. How does this one compare to the other two?
I feel like the last 2 years we've just been hoping that I was going to win. The difference this year is that we went into it working real hard all year, knowing that if I did everything right, the only one that could stop me is myself. So I think that this one just shows that the next year it's just going to be domination.
Coach talked about how all of your wrestlers progressed in the last 4 months. How do you see yourself personally get better up until state championships?
I feel like you never really feel yourself get better, but if you go back and watch film, like a couple days ago I was watching film from last year this summer and I feel like I could smoke myself. So it just feels good knowing that even though you can't feel it, you've definitely gotten a lot better.
You smoked the competition in Evansville, Coach. What was so special about that moment with your team finally bringing home the team title?
I mean, it was an upset. Going into it, there's kind of right now in Indiana 3 powerhouse teams, us, Crown Point, and Center Grove. And Crown Point were kind of huge favorites, but we just kept telling the guys to focus on their individual goals, and if they do that, that'll help the team. And then we had a great performance. I mean, we placed 8 out of 9. We put 3 in the finals, had a couple champs. But one thing I wanted to say about Revin and Jake that a lot of people don't know is in the history of Indiana wrestling, I think there's been 10 4-time state champions. And right now, Revin's won it his first 2 years of high school. Jake's won it his first 3 years of high school. And all of that's great, but the coolest thing about it is that's not their goal. Their goal is not to be, neither one of them ever talked about, going down as a 4-time state champ. Both of these guys, they have this mentality that they want to be the best in the country, and it just feeds to the room. Their work ethic and attitude, sure they want to win a state title, but they want to win national championships.
History in the making, for sure. What was that celebration like in Evansville?
I was going out of my mind. I don't really remember a lot. I know we were jumping around, celebrating, a lot of hugs. We've been so close, and you try to stay really positive, and as a head coach and all my coaches, we have to, but it's kind of like every time we leave there, I'm like, oh man, this match, this point here. So it was just pure celebration, and then a really long ride home, and my head was pounding, but I was wide awake. We got home really early in the morning, and I couldn't sleep for the next few hours, just kind of running through everything.
That's awesome. Was there a special restaurant that you guys went and celebrated at?
Wendy's.
Wendy's! What was the order?
Baconator.
Baconator, Jake, what'd you get?
I wasn't with them. I ended up making some ramen and eating Pop-Tarts.
Ramen?
We got back at like 3.
All right, Breakfast of Champions, a Baconator and ramen and Pop-Tarts.
Yep.
There you go, if you want to win a state title. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations again. On to another title next year, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah? We have much more Zone Extra coming up, including our Athlete of the Week. He's the leader of a Brebeuf team that is looking to make a deep state tournament run starting next week. Up next, meet Braves senior Evan Hayward. Plus, we go on campus to Purdue to catch up with former Newcastle basketball standout and current Boilermaker senior Mason Gillis. Stay with us.
This is the Zone Extra, presented by Franciscan Health Sports Medicine.
Welcome back into Zone Extra. I'm Angela Morian. The boys basketball state tournament begins next week with sectionals. One of the teams to watch in Class 3A, third-ranked Brebeuf. The Braves are led by senior guard Evan Haywood, who leads the team in both scoring, nearly 21 points a game, and rebounding at 6.5 a game. He's also second on the team in steals. Last summer, Haywood committed to play collegiately at Butler. He says he committed early so he could focus on leading Brebeuf to his first state title since 2000. He believes his growth as a player can help the Braves reach their ultimate goal.
I feel like I got more comfortable, I got more relaxed. I feel like I was a little antsy, a little amped up, a little anxious those first 2 years because I didn't know what my future held, and I was kind of playing for opportunity, and I still am. But I feel like I'm more calm, I'm more confident.
He's a consummate team player. He's always looking for angles. He's always looking for ways to facilitate, and it's one of the things we have a lot of conversations about is when he has a ton of attention, just talking about continuing to make an impact and see if we can't get somebody else going. And he does a really, really great job of, he's just always on the move.
I feel like I've naturally been a leader kind of my whole life, and so, stepping into this role was no problem for me. I got a lot of guys that I love by my side and that they'll back me up whenever I need it, and I just feel like as long as we stay together and we keep feeding off of each other, listening to each other, then nobody can beat us.
He's one of the best dudes I've ever coached. Just cares so much about us, cares so much about his teammates and our school community. He's just done a tremendous job of taking this all in stride, and he wants to represent our school and our community, and that's always top of mind for him.
It's been so much fun. Me and my friends, this is what we want to do. So we have the most fun. And we've lost some tough games, but we've learned from all of them, and so we're just looking to make a good run in the state finals.
That run starts this week as the sectionals commence in boys basketball. We have more Zone Extra coming up, including the latest edition of Ask the Commissioner with Paul Neidig of the IHSAA. See you then.
This is the Zone Extra, presented by Franciscan Health Sports Medicine.
Welcome back into the Zone Extra. Let's head on campus, where we're going to catch up with former Central Indiana high school athlete as they compete at the collegiate level. This week, we head to West Lafayette and Purdue basketball team. Last week, senior Mason Gillis helped the Boilermakers to a win over Minnesota, coming off the bench to score 14 points and hit 4 threes in the 8-point victory. The former Newcastle High School standout is averaging nearly 7 points a game and shooting 48% beyond the arc. He says he's much more confident in his shooting this year.
I think my guys trust me just a little bit more. I think a couple years ago, there's times where I would catch the ball and not shoot it just because I wasn't as confident in myself. I never stopped working, and Paint said just keep going, and so keep doing your job and it'll all work out. So I think that's kind of where we're at. I want to win the game, and if my job is to shoot threes and rebound and cheer my team on, then that's what I got to do at my best. So.
We'll look for more of that high-powered shooting from Mason Gillis as Purdue heads to March Madness. Now let's talk to the commissioner. Each week we take one of your questions to IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig and bring you his answer. This week it's how much fun is it for you seeing teams watch the sectional draw and learn their postseason paths?
It's really become the pairing shows and the gatherings that teams go to, whether it's in somebody's basement or a local restaurant or whatever. These teams are gathering, have an event, some fellowship, some time with the teammates, and then they watch these draws come through, and it's all over social media, and we watch those things, and we rebroadcast where student athletes are watching from on our draw show. And it is exciting. There's really 2 seasons. It's that season that is throughout the regular season, and they're preparing, trying to get better, working hard. And now they get to see what they're going to be able to do in the tournament. And it's about trying to achieve the goals that they set early on in the year.
Oh, it's always a great time of year. Thank you, Commissioner Neidig, for that. We got to talk about our Zone Basketball Player of the Week. You can vote for it on wishtv.com. But here are this week's nominees. Javon Brooks from Brebeuf, Brady Kaler from Cathedral, Lawrence Norris, Xavier Robinson, and Westfield's Nick Book. Book in your votes on wishtv.com. You have until tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll announce the winner on The Zone tomorrow, which is always at 11:08. Make sure you go get those votes in. It's a big night of high school basketball action across Central Indiana as the regular season comes to a close. We have highlights from 10 games, plus all the scores in The Zone tomorrow night starting at 11:08. Here's a little bit of a preview of what games we're going to be talking about. Arsenal Tech's at Ben Davis, and Trinity out of Kentucky is up here at Cathedral. Bishop Chatard, the Banner Champs, on the road against Franklin Central. New Palestine and Greenwood, Brebeuf, and Roncalli. Those are just some of the games we'll be covering. So you're going to want to watch right here on Wish TV. That's it we have for The Zone Extra. We'll see you tomorrow on The Zone.